Hey everybody, this is Mr. Wilson. Today we're going to talk about how to add music, titles, credits, and transitions to your production. Last tutorial we showed you the very basics of how to edit. Now we're going to show you how to finish it up. Now, I've opened up Final Cut, but I can see down here, this is not my project. Remember, we were working on sample script, and this has got a lot of stuff in it, and I could be like, whoa, what is this? This is really interesting looking. Oh my gosh, look at all this stuff. Should I play it? Should I look at it? No, right? We're not going to do that. So how do I get to my project? Well, remember what our event was called. It's up here, and remember it's called sample script class, so that we can't see the whole thing, but hopefully you'll remember that was our event. First of all, we click on the event, and then up on the top, now you might have your media down here, but on the top it's going to say what projects are in that event, and we should always have our project in that event. So sample script period 8 quarter 1 class is what we called it. So we double click on that, and our project will open in the project window below. So this, remember, down here, sample script period 8 quarter 1 class. So this is what we were working on. Now I have edited it completely, and let's just take a quick look at this, and I'll play it by hitting L to play, or of course I can also hit my space bar, either one.
Hey, you're in my communications class, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going there right now.
Have you heard about Mr. Wilson?
No, what about him?
He's crazy! If you're late to his class, he'll beat you with a rubber chicken!
Oh no, that's a late bell. What should we do?
We should go hide in the bathroom. Stop whimpering! Come on, people will hear us!
Okay, so that's how it turned out. Now it looks pretty good, and I should always tell all my 6th grade students that this sample script should end up with 8 shots instead of the 6. So instead of going back to the way shot, after this shot, we go back to the friend number 1 for...
We should go hide in the bathroom.
And then back to the friend number 2 for... So those 2 medium close-ups are not on the storyboard, but I want you to add them in there so we have a few extra shots, and then we go to the way shot for no whimpering people will hear us. But how many people noticed something wrong with our continuity here? Okay, I'm going to play it again.
Bathroom. Stop whimpering! Come on, people will hear us!
How many people noticed it? I'll play it again.
Stop whimpering!
Okay, now I'm going to go back, hold the K, and go back 1 frame at a time by holding the K key down and hitting J, or I can also use my arrow keys. Now, remember, this icon means the first frame of this clip, and I go back 1, and this is icon here, the last frame of the previous clip. So look at check here, and then I'm going to frame forward 1 and look at check here. See the difference? He's got his hands in front of his face here and not here. So we're going to need to fix that, because that is an error in continuity. That is a jump cut. A jump cut is when intermediate action is cut out. What we don't see here is him putting his hands to his face. So it's a real jumpy. Let's take a look.
Stop whimpering!
Okay, so we should understand why that's bad, right? So what I'm going to do is I've tried to fix it in various ways, but I realized I can't fix it except to get rid of this clip of check. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to hit delete, and it's gone. But now, of course,
The bathroom. Stop whimpering!
that doesn't make sense, right? So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to put my cursor right at that edit point, remember, and the film strip to the right means that I'm going to elongate the clip to the right, or shorten, trim the clip to the right, either way, making it shorter like this or longer like this. And you notice when I do this, up in the upper right hand viewer where I see my clips, when I'm doing a trim, it shows me the last frame of the previous clip and the first frame of the last clip, which is really good for trying to catch continuity errors. So if we look at it now, that clip does not lead to the next clip, because again we've got a problem with Check's hands being in front of his face. So I'm going to go this way, elongate this clip, and then I'm going to see what this is like right here.
Go hide in the bathroom. Stop whimpering! Come on, people will hear us!
That looks good. So again, I can go down here and click on this clip, and I can see that Chuck's hands are not in front of his face. If I start moving it to the right and I'm up here, this can't be a good cut because we can see that his hands have moved up a little bit too much. Let's take a look.
Bathroom.
See, that's not a good cut. So I'm going to go here again and move it down to where his hands are down, and also he probably hasn't really started whimpering here. Now if I go too far, I'll get a little bit of Adam's line, and that's not what I want either.
In the bathroom. The bathroom.
Nope, that's no good, obviously. So I'm going to get it exactly where I want it, and it might take some time to get it exactly. You might take a few turns, but let's take a look at this.
In the bathroom. Stop whimpering. Come on, people will hear us.
Okay, so that's good. Now we do only have 7 shots instead of the 8 shots that I want, but it's better that than a continuity error. So you always want to avoid continuity errors at all times, whenever possible, and you should be able to as long as you're shooting it right and editing it right. Okay, so now we're going to add transitions, titles, music. How do we do that? Up here on this board are all the things we're going to need for this. This right here is our titles. Will give us our titles browser, and if I click on it, underneath here, this is where we're going to have our titles. This is where we can pick from our titles. This is our transitions browser. I click on this, and down here we'll have all of our transitions that we can possibly use. This is our music browser. Click on this, and down here is all the music and sound effects also, and other things we can use for our productions. This is our photo gallery, and really those are the only things you're going to need. Those 4 really, basically. We're not going to use any photos right now. So first let's go to transitions, and we're going to put what they have here as a cross dissolve at the beginning and at the end. Now cross dissolves normally are one shot fades down as the other fades in, and if we hold our cursor here and we drag it through, we can see what a cross dissolve is. One shot fades out as the other fades in. But when you don't have anything after the shot that you put it on, it will fade to black. If you don't have anything before the shot you put it on, it will fade in from black. So that's what I want. So I'm going to click, drag, hold, let go, and this right up here means that it's rendering that, but we can still play it while it's rendering. So this is what it's going to look like. Perfect, a nice fade out. Now, yes, we can see all these people standing in the background, but that really doesn't matter. This is just our sample script. Normally, you would not want that, but this is just our sample script. Okay, now I'm going to go to the front, and we're going to do the same thing. Here's my cross dissolve. Click, hold, drag, and place. So now at the very beginning, instead of just having the first clip appear, we're going to fade in. Okay, now you're going to normally want fade ins and fade outs. Sometimes for a reason, if you don't want it, you don't have to, but you need to talk to me about whether you want it or you don't, and why you don't if you don't want it. If you just don't have a fade in, I might dock you some points on continuity because I usually like fade ins. Now some people don't, and that's fine. If you don't and say I think it looks better without it, that's fine, but talk to me about it, and depending on what your video is and what it's like and etc., I might agree with you, but make sure you ask. So our fade in, fade outs on there. Now we're going to talk about adding our titles. So again, here is where we go for our titles. We click on that, and we'll have all of our titles presented over here. Now over here we have all, or we have other things that we can look at. Let's just look at all, and you can again hold your cursor over something and it will show you what that is going to look like. Of course, when it says text, information, title, that means that you're going to name, description, you're going to actually change that. So some of them are more dramatic than others, so you can take a look, but I'm going to go to one real quickly down here which is titled dramatic. Like this. Okay, so that's the one I'm going to use. Now I can put it over a piece of video if I wanted. If I put it here on top, that title would be over my video, so like this. So we see it up here, it would appear like this.
Hey, you're in my communications class, aren't you?
Title, subtitle, but that's not what I want at all. So I'm going to hit Command or Apple Z to undo adding that title there. I'm going to want my titles over black, so I'm going to click here, click, hold, drag, and I'm going to put it on this timeline and drop it in there. Now I've got my title before my fade in and my first clips. But obviously I don't want it to say title, subtitle, etc. How do I change that? Well, you can change it a couple different ways. So over here, this is the inspector button, and when I click that, we're going to get another window up top that shows me the properties of whatever I have selected. So right now I have this title selected, so I'm going to go up here, and when I click on where it says title, it'll tell me text, title. Now, two ways I can do it. I can go in here and I can retype here and type whatever I want. The curse. That's what I'm gonna type there. Now I'm gonna drag my playhead to the next thing. Subtitle it says, but that's not what I want it to say, so I'm going to again click here. It's going to say subtitle, but I can also, just to show you a different way, I can click within this box and type it in this box here. So I'm going to say of the, and I'm capitalizing everything. Now I'm going to drag the playhead to the next thing where it says date. I'm going to again click in here and I'm going to type it in here again, and rubber chicken. Now obviously this doesn't fit, right? So I'm going to click there and hit the space bar, and it's going to be put down here. Now I can also maneuver my title, so I'm going to click on this little circular thing and move it up so it appears more in the center. Now I can also make it larger or smaller. Up here I can change my font. I can do all sorts of things with my title by looking at the inspector. The inspector gives you all sorts of properties about whatever you have selected. Okay, so let's take a look at what this is going to look like. The title, the curse of the rubber chicken. Okay, that looks pretty good, except I think it's kind of long. So I'm going to make it shorter by clicking and trimming it down. Now it's going to make it, all those words appear a little bit quicker. So let's take a look at this. Now, the very important thing you need to know is, rule of thumb for anything printed on the screen is we need to see it for as long as it takes for us to be able to read it 3 times. So let's see if that is true now. The curse, the curse, the curse of the rubber chicken, rubber chicken, rubber chicken. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to put our credits on there. Now, for our credits over here, we can see we can click on credits, and we've got lots of different things we can do, but 90% of the time I just want you to use scrolling. Okay, so if you don't use scrolling, if you want to use something different, you need to ask me. Okay, definitely not slate. That's something completely different. Trailer is obviously for like a movie trailer. That doesn't really make sense. So most of the time you're just going to use scrolling. If you want something different, yeah, you might be able to do something different, but mostly I'm just going to want to have the scrolling. So you click, hold, and drag. But before I do that, I'm actually going to do something else, because if I put it on here, again, you see it's going to go over that my titles are going to go over that fade in. So actually I'm not going to do that, and instead I'm going to show you another very important shortcut, and the shortcut is hold down the Option key and hit W. And what that does is it adds a little black in your timeline. This right here is this little teeny black. I think it's 3 seconds is the default. But again, you can click and make it shorter. You can make it longer. That black is going to make it so that we're going to make it much shorter than 3 seconds. But that black is going to make it so that it does not start scrolling over the fade out. So we click it, we drag it down here, we add it, and then we're going to change what it says. So title, you can keep the title if you want. I usually don't want the title there, but you can, if you want to have the title there, you can. Now it says name description, but another thing, I'm going to actually ask you to do it the other way. So instead of name description, I'm going to put description name. So you're going to put director, and then you're going to go to description, and then type the person's first name and last initial, Joe S, and then go to the next one. Again, when it says name, you're going to actually put the position. So DP, and then where it says description, you're going to put Alice R. Here you're going to put, for let's say, talent. You have going to usually have at least two names, so Adam C. And then we don't need to say talent again. Actually, we can just put the other person's name, because and check, you know what, I know that's not how he spells his name, but that's what I'm going to put because I have no idea, and I don't know his last name either. So talent, and then these two names, and if there's a third down here, then the same thing, you're going to want to just put the description and then the name, the opposite of what it says here. Okay, so now this is rendering. We can see it's rendering because of this, so it might not play smoothly until it renders, but let's see what this looks like for now. Okay, not bad, but since this is selected, we can look down here and it says this is 10 seconds long. That's not bad. I'm going to make it a little shorter. Usually we're going to want your credits to be about 8-9 seconds. So now I've made it about 8 seconds, and we can scroll them pretty good. Okay, one thing, we're going to usually want to have the font size larger than this. This is pretty small. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger by clicking over here under font size in the inspection window, and when I click and drag it to the right, the size of the font should increase like that, so it's a little bit bigger. That looks pretty good there. I can also click inside here and move it to the left a little bit. That looks good. Maybe make it a little larger than that. That looks good. So it's nice and big. It doesn't have to be quite that big, but the other one was pretty small, so this is what it's going to look like. That looks pretty good. Alright, now this thing of black here is still, we can see down here, 1 second 15 frames. We're gonna trim it down to almost nothing. That was just there so that our scrolling didn't start until we faded out. Yeah, so I basically got rid of it. So Option W again puts in a little piece of black in your timeline in case you need that for something, to separate something or as a placeholder. Okay, so we've got our transitions and our titles and our credits. Now we're going to look for music. Now over here again, music, and here this drop down menu, we can look at the music for iTunes. We can look at all sorts of other stuff. But for our music, I'm going to show you actually something else that I want you to do, and that is, depending on what you're looking for, it's much better to look for your music on iTunes first, and 95% of the time you're going to use free play music. So up here in the library, you can type free, and then over here you're only going to see things that have the word free in it. So, and if there's any other stuff on the iTunes library, you're not going to see it, which is good because normally you don't want to see that. Now, the reason why you want to look at iTunes instead of going through Final Cut is because the album tells you what kind of music it's going to be. So, if you're looking for something that's sad and slow for your production, because you should be thinking about mood, you probably don't want tech grooves, right? Probably if we play that. Yeah, that doesn't sound like something we're going to want for sad and slow. TV themes? I don't know. What the heck is that? Yeah. No, Full Force Battle. That's not what we want. So the album name and the title of the actual song should give you an idea about what it's going to sound like. Alternative rock? No, we're not going to want alternative rock. Soundtrack suspense? That's not what we want. Drama? No. Comedy? No. Action? No. Let's see. So we look through all of these, and maybe one of these acoustic guitar songs would be kind of sad and slow. So Silent Place, let's see. That sounds pretty good for a sad and slow, but actually I'm looking for something that's actually a little bit scary for this production, so I'm going to go to, let's see, maybe action mystery. Let's see what this sounds like. That sounds pretty good. So only human, I'm going to notice what it's called. And you're going to probably want to spend a little bit more time looking. But over here, I know it's only human, so I'm going to put only, and there's my song. Only human. So I'm going to click, hold, drag, and I'm going to put it below my video. And I'm going to put it at the very beginning and let go. Actually, I'm going to make this title a little longer because I think it could be synced even a little bit more. If I make this title longer, I might be able to really sync it up with the title. So let me see what this is going to look like. That's good.
Hey, you're in my communications class, aren't you?
Okay, so now you see the problem though. The music is too loud for when they start to talk. So what do? Okay, this is really important. We hold down the Option key, and this is the volume level of the music. 0 dB stands for 0 decibels. That's what the default for all your sounds are going to be, 0 decibels. You can turn it up or down depending on your needs, but it's almost always going to be 0 decibels. Same thing for the volume control on your video there. Now if we wanted to, if we needed to, we could turn it up or down, but we usually for your volume for your video, we're going to leave it the same unless we really need to turn it up or down. But the music we definitely need to adjust. So I'm going to hold down the Option key, and when I hold down the Option key, you see that I get this little adjust volume and a little diamond there. So I'm going to click on the volume there, and I get this little diamond. But I need to do it twice whenever I want to modify the volume. So I'm going to click on it again there, and now I'm going to click and drag it down just a little bit. Negative 13 decibels. Negative, I'm going to see what it's like at negative 21. I think that should probably be good.
Hey, you're in my communications class, aren't you? Yeah, I'm going there right now.
That's pretty good, but I think I might want the music a little louder because this is actually a pretty quiet song. So some songs that are loud you're going to have to turn way down. But let's see what this looks like.
Hey, you're in my communications class, aren't you? Yeah, I'm going there right now.
Have you heard about Mr. Wilson?
No, what about him?
He's crazy! If you're
That seems good. So we're going to go to the end, and we're going to again click on the volume control with the Option key down. So click, and again twice when we want to make a volume adjustment, because for the credits I'm going to turn it back up to 0 decibels. Maybe even a little louder, but not too much louder. Let's see what 2 decibels sound like. So at the end,
Stop whimpering!
that's pretty good. It's pretty spooky music. So it comes up for the credits, and you're also going to normally have a reinforcing message for normal productions. And then I'm going to hold down the Option key, click on it again. I can also drag right or left, so I'm going to actually want this to the left a little bit. Click on it again at the end, and then drag all the way to the bottom because I want it to fade out. I always want to fade out. Now I want it to be a little more gradual, so I can click on this and drag it to the left. I could also click on this and drag it to the right, but I actually don't want to do that because then you're going to see when it's done, it's going to keep going. That playhead keeps on moving because this song is still there. So I need to cut the song. Now the shortcut for some of your tools are over here. The shortcut for the blade, which is what I want, is B. Okay, so I'm going to hit B, and then right there I'm going to click, and I've sliced with my blade this thing. Now I'm going to need to select this and get rid of it, but if I click again, I've just cut it again. So I'm going to hit Command or Apple Z to undo, and my shortcut for the select tool to get rid of this blade is A. And if you're not sure, you can go up here And look, select tool, shortcut is A. So now with my select tool, I select and then delete. And now we'll see that at the end, it just fades down and oh, it's still playing. Why? Well, I've got this black, so I'm going to delete that because I don't want that. If your playhead keeps playing, you're going to need to get rid of that black. So there, my playhead stops. That's good. You never want it to keep going. If it keeps going, you've got black or music or something you need to get rid of at the end. So okay, we've got the title, we've got the fade in and fade out, we've got the music. Looks good, so let's just take a look at this whole thing and see what it looks like. And I'll make it full screen.
Hey, you're in my communications class, aren't you? Yeah, I'm going there right now.
Have you heard about Mr. Wilson?
No, what about him?
He's crazy! If you're late to his class, he beats you with a rubber chicken!
Oh no, that's late though. What should we do?
We should go hide in the bathroom.
Stop whimpering. Come on.
Alright, that looks perfect. The only thing you left to do is to compress it. And we do that by going to File, going to Share, and going to Master File Default. So when you hit Share, you'll get this box. You'll just need to make sure it looks good. Click Next, and then it's going to ask you where you want it to save, and you should always save it in the Movies folder. Click Save, and it will compress. When it's done, you'll have this Share Successful. You can just close that. Your actual file will appear here. You can close that because when I grade your production, I'm actually going to grade it from the Final Cut Pro file. Now I can minimize Final Cut Pro and look for my file in the Movies folder, which should always be on the desktop. Might say Movies alias, sometimes just Movies folder. Now we're going to look for our file that we just created in here. Now sometimes there's lots of stuff like this one, but if it's by name, we can look for sample script. There it is. This is the file that we just created. So we're going to click on it and then go to File, Get Info, or we can also hit Command or Apple I, and that's a little easier, so I'm going to do that, Command I. And then within here we can see sample script. This is our file, gives us a whole bunch of information about our file, the Get Info. Now we click on the comments triangle and this opens up, and this is where we put everyone's names. Adam, check, but we're also going to use last names here in the comment section. So just Adam and his last name, check, and his last name, everybody in your group, and also anybody who might have played a role in your production. So if you interview someone, Mr. Holmes, for example, you would put Mr. Holmes. If you interview Miss Deanie, you would put Miss Deanie. If you had a friend who played a role in it, you'd put them. If they're just in the background and B-roll or something like that, we don't need to put their names, but everybody in your group's name goes here, and everybody who might have played a role in your production goes here. Then you can close it. I would, if I were you, open it up with Command or Apple I again, Get Info, and just to double check that here in the comments everybody's name was there, because I'm going to check that. You don't want me to check it and say, oh, your names aren't in the comment box. That's a point off. So you want to make sure that your names are in the comment box in the Movies folder, and then come and get me. Now sometimes when I grade it, I'll make changes. If I make changes and I have you make changes, you're going to have to recompress it. So if I grade your production and then I say this is good, but we need to do this, do that, and you change it, I change it, whatever, you're going to have to, after those changes are made, go up to File, Share again, and do the master file default again and recompress it so that the new improved version is the one that we have. Okay, so that's how you add transitions, credits, titles, music, and compress your file. When you're done with that, you're completely finished. Good luck.